Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As I have already been introduced, my name is Tania Halva-Perglová, and I am very happy to welcome you at this webinar on behalf of the Technology Agency of the Czech Republic. I am also very happy that we can all call you now our beneficiaries, because all the successful project proposals have been signed now, and all the projects are running. So I would like to congratulate to all of you that you have passed successfully the evaluation and that you are now in the project implementation phase. This webinar is dedicated to the open access and data management plan. To be honest with you, this is quite a new topic for us, and that is the reason why we have invited external speakers who have some experience in this topic and who are able to share this experience with you and guide you through this topic, which is quite new and therefore quite challenging. So I hope that this webinar will respond to all the questions that you have. And if you have any additional question afterwards, our team is always ready to help you and to guide you through. So enjoy this webinar, and I hope to see you soon at other occasions, at other webinars dedicated maybe to other topics. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Tanya. And I agree that even if you have more questions after the webinar, don't hesitate to contact anyone from our team, and we will be in the assistance to help you with anything you might need, as we try so far. And so now I will pass the word to my colleague Taisia, which will present you the conditions on open access in the KAPPA program.
Hello everyone, my name is Taisia, and I will take you through the rules of open access and data management plan within the KAPPA program. And on the beginning, I just want to start with the definition of open access. Open access is generally understood as continuous, immediate, unrestricted, and free online access to full-length texts of scientific publications, which are most often articles, without any limitations to anyone. And as the EAA and Norway grants follow closely the EU Horizon Framework Program principles, all the beneficiaries of KAPPA program should ensure the open access to all J-type results, which mean the online access free of charge for any user on peer-reviewed scientific publications and to any data related to those publications. And also I want to mention that the results are deemed to be J-type results only when the requirements for open access defined in the guide for applicants are met. Also, the beneficiaries should ensure that they or the authors retain sufficient intellectual property rights to comply with the open access requirements. Therefore, in a compliance with KAPPA program rules, in order to ensure open access, beneficiaries should follow both of the following steps. The first one would be to upload the result to a repository, which would mean that you need to upload the machine-readable final reviewed version of an article in one of the open repositories by the day of an article publication at the latest. And the second step would be to ensure open access to results. And here you can choose whether you want to use so-called green open access, which would mean for you that no later than 6 months from the publication or 12 months in the case of articles on social sciences or humanities, you need to disclose the text in full in an open repository. Or there's the second possibility, so-called gold open access, which would mean to immediately publish an article in one of the open periodicals. And here I also want to stress that all costs that you will face related to the publishing in any of these ways will be deemed as eligible costs of the program and for the duration of the whole project. For ensuring step 1 and step 2A, it's possible to search in the databases. Here you can see them on slide, and after we send you the presentation, you will have the possibility to check on them. And for ensuring the step 2B, it would be also possible to use the citation indexes. You can also check on them after, and I think that our speakers will tell you more about this specifically after my part of the presentation. So speaking generally about what Thatcher recommends on an open access is that you do not have to transfer copyright to the result, but it would be only you would only need to grant the publishers the necessary licenses for publishing, and you need to publish the results under public licenses, as well as to verify that the selected periodicals does not have the nature of a predatory journal, and to also take into account the quality of the journal when you're choosing. And just please remember the simple principle that the open access to your data should be as open as possible and as close as needed. And now I want to come to the data management plan, because the data management plan is really key to the good data management, because it describes the management cycle for the data that you collect, process, or generate within the project. And to enable research data to be more findable and usable, you need to include in data management plan the following things. The first one is what data you will collect and proceed and generate, then which methodologies and standards you will use, then whether the data will be shared or published under open access, and if yes, how this data will be managed and shared. And all of these topics should also be included in the period after the end of the project. But speaking about Thatcher recommendations and requirements, once again, we really advise you to use the Horizon 2020 template, because you would need to send us the first version of the data management plan, and you will need to submit it via the data box. You will have to do so within 6 months from the start date of the project, and we recommend you to do so to annually update it to keep up with your goals. Yes, and for those beneficiaries who use the DESCA template for the partnership agreement, just is a need to mention that you undertook the conditions of open access, which are in accordance with already mentioned conditions of Thatcher. And generally speaking, that open access is a general rule, but steering committee may decide that there are some exceptions. For example, if open access would legitimate interests of the parties or project objectives, or there would be any other contradictions, such as data protection rules or security rules or intellectual property rights, you cannot do so. But in this variant, you will have to write the reasons in the data management plan why you didn't provide an open access. But in the case when none of these exceptions were found or were made, beneficiaries should make it possible for other third parties to access, mine, exploit, and reproduce the data, including the associated metadata needed to validate the results presented in scientific publications, as well as other data, included associated metadata as specified in the data management plan exactly. And also, please just remember, as with open access, that the data management plan should be fair, which would mean findability, accessibility, interoperability, and reusability. So I think this is all from our side, and here you can see context. As was mentioned before, please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any misunderstandings or on anything. And on this point, I pass the word to my colleagues, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Taisia. I believe that at this point our presentation was quite general, so we will move directly to our first speaker, Mr. Jiří Marek. Please, the word is yours.
So, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm trying to share the presentation. Hopefully it's already on. Can you see it, please?
Yes, it's okay.
Yes. Perfect. So thank you very much, and thank you very much once again for inviting me as a speaker to this webinar. My name is Jiří Marek, and as Mrs. Dostálová mentioned, together with Michal Ružička and Jirka Kotouček, we are going to present this topic of open access data and the legal implication. We are all three, as we are working together on I would say open access, open science agenda of the Czech Republic, and we are really pleased to be here today with you and talk about these important topics of changing the, I would say, paradigm shift in scientific communication in 21st century. So, but probably you have already heard several things about open access from maybe your colleagues. I have seen someone from CETEC, for example, from our Masaryk University, etc. So I will try to have a short introduction, what is it, and then it would be great to discuss with you at least several questions, what are the main maybe barriers or maybe your main concerns, what you are having about this topic. So once again, this presentation will be about open access, then colleague will talk about data, and we will try to point out some topics that about the legal perspective that in the end will discuss Mr. Kotouček. So let's go for it. Just a moment. My presentation will have three parts. Actually, very simple parts. Why to do that? Why we are actually caring about open access, open science. What is it actually, and how to do it? You know, this should be the practical part. So let's start with why. Open access is part of open science agenda. So today it's not start of 21st century. It's not 2002 when all these activities about open access emerged with the Budapest Open Access Initiative. Today we are already talking about the whole open science ecosystem. So as you can see, the open access topic for scientific publications is in the core of these initiatives, but the data and especially the topic of micro presentation about open data and fair data is growing much interest. The others are, for example, open peer review or educational resources, or also emerging topic of citizen science and city science when you as a researcher, for example, are cooperating with public or public administration and with the society in large. So today it's important to think about open access in this context. You know, it's not only about publication anymore, but it's also very important, the topic of data and impact for society. I try to put some definition. Here is the European Commission definition and OECD definition. The European Commission thinks about the new approach to scientific process, cooperative work, based on cooperative work and new ways of diffusing knowledge. On the other hand, OECD definition says to make the primary outputs of publicly funded research publicly accessible and without no or minimal restriction. Actually, this is the very close to the definition that was mentioned in the presentation before. And in the end, you have also the Foster definition that is talking, it's a project, it was a European project that promoted a lot open science practices in the past, I would say 5-6 years. And Foster talks about open science as a it's to foster sharing, collaboration, and do a systemic change, you know. So someone could ask, okay, so how I can approach this open access, open science topic? So, and the question is, the answer is, actually, it's all of these definitions are right. There are several schools, as you can see now on the screen. There is a pragmatic school, infrastructure school, public school, measurement school, democratic school, and all of these are looking at open science from different perspectives, but they are mostly talking about the same. So I would say that a lot of problems and basic misunderstanding about open access and open science in general also are brought by these, I would say, on first sight, different definition, but in the second they are all aiming in the same direction. But for a scientist, it has not such time as, for example, as an open access manager to deal with the, you know, these differences between these definitions. So it can be a little bit hard, you know. So don't worry. That's the first thing that I would like to share with you. Don't worry about it. Usually the goal is always the same. What you have to keep in mind, open science is still same old science. It's only transformed to 21st century, the communication. So it's not new mathematics, new biology, new psychology. It's same psychology, same mathematics, etc. Only the sharing of the results and also management of the project as whole is a little bit different, but not it's the same science. You are not creating something new. This is usually also a misconception that we heard from some scientists. Oh yeah, this open scientist, I do my science, So this is the first thing, or second thing to take away. Third thing is open access is openness is only a form of publication. So as you can see, the definition, knowledge is open, free to access, use, modify, and share it if blah, blah. That means that this definition presented by Open Definition project, that's part of so-called Open Knowledge Foundation. That's a non-governmental organization, international non-governmental organization that takes care about these open things. So basically, if you put knowledge or data or publication is open, so you get this basic definition of all these open access I would say sectors, So openness is not anything new, but it's only a form of publication in this context. And personally, my favorite thing is that we have to see how this can impact the science, how can it develop the scientific method. So if you take the definition of scientific method, you look at it as a method of procedure that characterized natural sciences since 17th century. So in the end, you have a very important sentence: criticism is the backbone of the scientific method. So of course, constructive criticism. So if you can have more of this constructive criticism possible, that means that you share these results, and for example your colleagues are looking at it and help you finding new for example problems in your research, or give you some feedback, hints, etc. It can be very useful for development of science at large. What's important also, as I mentioned, it's not only about open access anymore, but it's also about data. And if you look at it from the research life cycle perspective, so there is a experiment, there is this, I would say, a research data life cycle cycles. And as you can see, the scientific publication is only one of the, I would say, outputs, So of course, it is for now, it's the most important output, but the landscape is changing, and as you can see, the data are going through all the scientific process. So we will see more of that in coming years. And also in Europe, there is a huge initiative of European Open Science Cloud that should be finished by 2025. So there will be a change of, I would say, managing scientific project through these data management tools, etc. What Michael will talk in his presentation. So in this perspective, we have to look on so-called interoperability. That is kind of key, how to deal with this open science thing, to connect publication to data, etc. And you have three layers of this interoperability. You have the managerial, that's about the strategy, methodology, and really going through with this transition. Then you have the technical things, that's repositories, and when you can, for example, share your preprints as a green open access route of publishing. And then there are the last one, it's the legal perspective, when you have some directives, licenses, Creative Commons, etc. So this is to explain why we are doing it, basically. So it's from the point of, for example, me as a manager of open access for Maastricht University. So basically the transition is coming, and we are trying at our institution, we are trying to prepare our scientists to deal with that transition as smooth as possible, And regarding the Thatcher and regarding these grants, the change is also coming from the legislation point of view. So in coming years, there should be as Thatcher is doing it now, so other, for example, Czech or international grant funders are going to apply similar conditions. So for that reason, it's important to have at least basic knowledge about this idea. So what is it? A little bit about history. In 20th century, there was a start of more intense scientific sharing. You know, it was all connected to the development of internet, etc. And in start of 21st century, in 2022 and 2023, 2002 and 2003, there were 3 documents that were called BBB initiatives. The first one, Budapest Open Access Initiative, was created by Open Society Fund, and it was created as a basic definition. What does it mean, green and gold open access? Then the Bethesda and Berlin, they specified basically the definition of these principles. So if you are interested in this, I would say, historical point of view, I would really recommend you these 3 documents to read it. It's only 1 page each, so you will get quickly into the topic. What's important from the European perspective that we are all living in is in 2018 there is a very ambitious plan called Plan S, and this is a connection of funders across Europe, mostly across Western countries, that they will really make the transition towards open access a reality, and they will put these conditions, as Thatcher did with your program KAPPA, to openly share scientific results from publicly funded research. So this was a huge change, because before that was like scientists were, I would like to do open science, but nobody will recognize me for that, or nobody wants it from me. So it's kind of administrative burden for me from the start, you know. But later on in 2018, all these grant agencies came together and said, hey, this is an important topic. It's important for development of science. So let's put all these conditions and necessary points to our grants agreement. In 2021, we are at start of Horizon Europe. That's the leading European scientific program, and this is changing also the paradigm, because there will be also penalties, you know, in the Horizon Europe scheme if you are not complying with the rules of the grant agreement. Jirka Kotouček, the last speaker, will talk about it later. Basically, what you have now at the KAPPA program, this is the basic Horizon 2020 model agreement in the perspective of open access agenda. So that's it from the history. Here there's an official definition of open access from UNESCO. As you can see, there is similar to what Mrs. I'm sorry about the name. So the presentation before. So as she mentioned it in the presentation, and it's free availability to the public to permit read, download, copy, distribute, search, or link to full text, etc., etc. And what is important, without financial, legal, and technical barriers. So usually the financial barriers can be overcome, the technical barriers also, but the legal usually the problem what is mostly discussed about the researchers, and about this will talk also my colleague Jirka in the last presentation. So to get to the bottom of it, there are several types of open access, how you can do that, you know. And the most important one are the first 2, green open access and gold open access. Green open access is about self-archiving in open repositories. So usually, if you have a preprint, that's the version before sending it to the publisher for the final publication. So you can usually self-archive this in open repositories. So you basically are providing the open access. This form of publication is free. It has to be allowed by the agreement with the publisher. So that is what was mentioned also with the previous presentation. And the green and gold road are all equal, you know. That doesn't mean that if you are doing green road or gold road, something is better or something is not, you know. So, for example, at Masaryk University, green road is very preferable among our peers, but we are discussing a new strategy regarding open access. And I would recommend you to I would say don't panic if you don't have money for open access in this program or any another program that you are doing, and because usually up to 82% of the publishers allow some of the green road open access possibilities, and for that reason we use a very, I would say, useful tool that's called Sherpa Romeo. I will talk about it a little bit later. On the other hand, you have a gold road. That means basically publication in open access journals, and it's provided the open access by the publishers. And if I go back to these six types of open access publishing, so you have basically green as a self-archiving through repositories, and basically you are usually putting their so-called preprints, and then you have a gold open access that has some, I would say, stages or differences, and the gold is a common term for hybrid, bronze, platinum, diamond / diamond open access, these 3, 4, and 5. So in a hybrid open access, that means that you have, for example, a journal that is usually closed behind the paywall, but some of the articles are open. Usually you pay this called APC fee. On the other hand, you have a bronze open access as, I would say, not the, it is open access without the Creative Commons license. That means that you can, it's free to read, but it's not free to update. You are not able to modify the publication that you obtain through this mode. But this is a very special thing. And Platinum open access is growing in attention because it's more and more journals are basically free of this open access fee or APC fee, and it can be you can publish there for free basically, and it's usually paid by the university or some Academy of Science or etc. So for example, this is very popular in human sciences. At least, for example, at Masaryk University, what I know. The sixth one, the black open access, it's kind of tricky because you have to also keep in mind the environment where these open access ideas are emerging, and because it's there's the philosophical point of view that the public research should be publicly available. So black open access is basically a pirate style of getting these articles. It's on web, for example, Sci-Hub. Maybe you know some of you know this server, and these are basically illegally downloaded articles to the Sci-Hub when you can download it for free. Of course, this is not the way how you should publish your results, but you have to. It's important that you know all the context how this transition towards open access is now happening. Okay, so this was about the type of open access publishing model. Now a little bit about the global context of open access. It started in 2002 with these initiatives. In 2008, in Europe and in the United States, there were changes in these funded programs. For example, in Europe, in the framework program number 7. Then in 2013, the US government made a decision on open access. Also in the UK in 2013, and big push was European Union program Horizon 2020, where the pilot for open data were introduced. I already mentioned Plan S, and what's kind of also important for your research at all is there is a Sherpa Julie database where you can find funders' policies about open access. So, for example, if you have many other programs or projects from different agencies, you can look to the funder policies about open access here. So from other initiatives, important is also 2012, the Finch report, when United Kingdom was basically the first nation that decided that will change the publishing model from the paywalls to the gold open access. So it was widely discussed in the open science community, and we can say that the United Kingdom is one of the leading nations in this area. From the political point of view, also 2016 and Amsterdam Open Access Call for Action was again European Union important message that the transition is happening. So as you can see, in 2002 to 2010, it was like slowly growing in importance. In the 2010 to 2020, there were several initiatives that boosted these ideas and these concepts. And from 2021 to 2030, we can really see the transition, of academic publishing in everyday practice of researchers. So this is the context. And what happened in Czech Republic, there was a national strategy in 2017 to scientific information. There was formed a Czech ELIP consortia that's basically connected to the distribution of electronic information resources. And in 2019, there was an action plan that was only for publication. And in 2021, actually from the 1st of January of this year, we have a new National Centrum for Information Support of Research and Innovation. And there's a under development new policy through if you know the Metodika 21 plus, that means the national methodology for evaluating science. There is a new, I would say, policy documents regarding these initiatives in the Czech Republic. So, but now it was like, what is it and why we do it, but how we can do this. So to bear in mind, you are, as a scientist, you are in the ecosystem of these open science topics. There is important group of librarians that usually, at least at Masaryk University and other universities, are a really important group in helping you with your everyday problems at your institution. For example, our librarians are usually the holders of this topic at a particular institution. There is growing need for data specialists. That's the topic of data. And there are also lawyers, universities, funders, and also readers as another researchers or the citizens. So with this, you have to deal with these practical issues of open access. As was mentioned in the previous presentation, there could be predatory journals or publishers, and this is quite a topic. But from my personal experience, I would say that it is a topic, but it's slowly getting better and better, because the topic is already well known, and if you don't want to harm your career, actually, so you usually are taking care about it and look at it with precaution about this kind of practices. It was, I would say, wild west of scientific publication in the last 10 years, but it's getting better every year, I would say. On the other hand, then you have to comply with several funder conditions regarding the publications. And for the Czech Republic, there is a new legislation change for the law 130/2002. That means basically the law for research support in the Czech Republic, and it should be accepted by mid of this year, and it will bring basically this European condition of open science as a standard in publication of results also to the Czech Republic. So you will probably get more and more of these conditions as Thatcher now wants you from KAPPA, also from another funders. For example, about the APC fee, that's very nice that KAPPA program, it's basically saying that it's eligible fee for your grants. And what we are approaching it with colleagues from different universities, we are trying to teach researchers actually to start thinking about this APC fee, at least for now, for this transition period from 2020 to 2030 in the project planning already from the start. The same goes for the planning for storage capacities, for example, for data, etc. So the best practice is try to deal with that before basically you submit the paper. And if you submit it and you don't have the money for a gold open access fee, so basically, as I mentioned before, there is 82% chance that the publisher will allow some sort of publication via green road that is for free, so don't be afraid about the money. It can be solved, and usually librarians or project administrators at your institution will help you with that, or the colleagues from KAPPA can also look at it, for example, together with Sherpa Romeo tools, etc. Fourth one, choosing the right journal. Of course, if you can choose, but this is usually what researchers say. I would like to publish in that and that journal, and with open access, you are pushing me to publishing in another journal. So this is really going to be less and less problem in that, but it would be great if you take in mind that if you sign this agreement, for example, with Thatcher, so you have this obligation to fulfill with open access. So if you have the possibility to choose the open access journal that allows what is needed by the Thatcher agreement. The fifth and sixth are usually the I would say just a moment. It's usually concerns of many researchers that the research can be stolen, or there will be problem with the commercialization of science. How I can make commercialization of something that is open. So in both of these things, you have to keep in mind that if someone wants to, I would say, steal the research, he will find a way. And if you are publishing the research under the paywall, that only the people that has paid for the access can access this journal or this article. So it's basically it doesn't make sense, because someone can go and look at these articles from different point of view, so, or from different how to say it, from different position or from different product. So, and on the sixth one, open versus commercialization of science, usually you should start to think about it as a synergic effects together. You can use open access publishing as a marketing for your non-commercialable research, and when you have something that it could be, for example, made by patent, etc. So you will probably sell this license for more if you are more well known in the community. So actually, if you have this strategy to really commercialize some of the research and some of them make open, usually the researchers what I had the possibility to talk with, they are trying to start to think in this kind of way about it. Okay, and this is Creative Commons licenses as a legal tool make open science reality. So very practical. What does it mean, open access? So open access, it's author's work, from the definition from a legal point of view. So this copyright is the restricting mechanism that you are as a creator, you have created, or as an author, you have created this article. So everyone that wants to use this article has to have permission from you, And because in internet you can't give thousands of permissions, to several person that would like to, for example, modify or research, etc., and fulfill this open access principle. So there was created a tool called Creative Commons licenses. So basically, if you have an article and you put the Creative Commons license to that, so you have an open article, and that is where we are heading with all these open access principles, and in the future. And about that, Mr. Kotouček will talk in the last presentation. And as you can see, also this license, it has 3 layers, It has the legal code, then the human readable code, and machine readable. So these are the interoperability, as I mentioned at the start of the presentation: technical one, managerial, and legal. Okay. And last, the open access services, as was mentioned by colleagues from Thatcher, there is several services that can help you, with finding the right journal, or storing your article, or looking for the condition of the publisher. So Directory of Open Access Journals can help you find and navigate you among open access journals that are available nowadays. The same goes for open.door. That means open repositories, because you can choose about your institutional repositories or some catch it all repository or some thematic repositories. This is all you can find, for example, in this open.door. In Sherpa Romeo, you can find the publisher conditions about the open access publishing. It's like Wikipedia, you know, it's not legal bindable for you because the contract is, but the Sherpa Romeo is very interesting tool how to look what the publisher or the publisher that you would like to publish by has the conditions for open access. In Sherpa Juliet, I talk about it. It's about a list of funders and its conditions, and Zenodo is the catch-all repository for your scientific publication or data governed by CERN institution. As you can see, all of these are clickable hyperlinks. So after when we share you the presentation, so you can look at it and you can try to work with that. Okay, so basically this is end of my presentation, and I'm open for any question. I have seen some of them in the chat. So Mr. Igor Ezau, it's asking, if results are published in a green open access depository, do they count as published, or something more is required to do about it? Do we need to use gold or other types of if green depository is used? If I read it well, the condition of Thatcher is that if you are publishing your article, so you can for fulfilling the open access condition, you can do it through green road or gold road. If you do it by gold road, you should also deposit your article in some repository. So basically, it's combining these two, green and gold. If you go firstly by gold, if you want to present the J type of results, so of course you have to have a peer review published article, and after that you decide if it is green or gold, you know. So this is about your question. Then Mohammed Eldesouki, I'm sorry for the name. Is there any restriction on the number of papers that are covered by KAPPA program? For example, if the project planned 5 publications, but researchers were able to generate more, then will this publication will be eligible. So this is for Thatcher. I would.
Yes, if I can step in, thank you very much for answering also the first question. I can only confirm what you answered. That's exactly how it is in KAPPA. And for the question of Mr. Eldesouki, there are no restrictions on how many papers you can claim as a result in KAPPA program. So all the costs related would be eligible. You can update the list of your results in the interim or final reports. The only condition is that every newly added result must be in line with the project objective and aims.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And there is another question from Petr Cherval. Hello, I have 2 questions. When I plan to publish in Elsevier journal, as it is enough to meet the open access requirements by purchasing gold open access publication option. In this case, an article is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it is enough, but you can do it also by green and you have it for free. And if it is possible, of course, with the publisher where you would like to, with the journal where you would like to present your research. And second, is there any other cheaper option how to meet the open access requirement? Yeah, I have just answered that. So basically, yes, you can buy the open access, gold open access or hybrid open access possibility with the journal. But if you would like to have more, I would say a little bit, you don't want to spend so much money on this open access fees. So look at the condition of the publisher. For example, use this tool, Sherpa Romeo. This Sherpa Romeo on the first page, first line, and you can look how the journal where you are willing to publish is looking at open access, and then you can check the license agreement basically, or the contract with the publisher, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks. Perfect. So any other question, and you can also jump in and ask me in person.
Okay, if there are no more questions, you can still, if you come up with another, you can ask other speakers at the end of the presentations or at the end of the webinar, or you can write it in the chat meanwhile. So thank you very much, Mr. Marek, for your great presentation. And now I will pass the floor to Mr. Ružička.
And one more thing, just one more thing. Don't be afraid, about open access. And usually, because you are coming from a research institution, usually your institution will have also support for that. And there is a huge project of HR award in Czech Republic where up to 12 or 13 research institute already has this kind of support in place, So don't worry and publish in open access. And thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And now Mr. Ružička, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon to everyone. I have yet another presentation on the topic of data management planning. I hope it will be more on the practice. During the presentation, I will have two demos of two different tools for support of data management planning and verification of data. So keep tuned, and I hope it will help you. What is outline of my talk? In the first part, I will introduce DMP and DMP tools, and then I will try to answer several questions that I got from you before this webinar. And of course, feel free to ask other questions. As of now, I don't see the chat, but I will try to answer them after my talk. Okay, what's data management plan and what's data management planning? I have two different things here. It's different. The data management plan is different thing from data management planning. The most important thing around research data is data management planning. That's the process of planning and describing and communicating the life cycle of your research data and activities associated with the management of the data. That means where you will get the data, what's the license of the data, what you are allowed to do with the data, where you will store the data, what software you will use for processing the data, where you will archive the data, how you share the data. Are there some special legal requirements on handling the data if there are, for example, sensitive data from medicine or something like that? How will you share the data? Who will pay for long-term archiving of the data, etc.? That means data management planning is something you are really doing during your research on everyday basis, but thing that's now common request from grant agencies, etc., is document data management plan. And that simple document where these processes and actions are documented to show you are thinking about data management. You know how to solve different steps in the life cycle of the data, and know who will pay for it, and etc. Another thing is that great grant agencies often consider some costs of data archiving, management, etc., to be eligible costs. So data management plan that's submitted as part of the project proposal is thing that help you to think of these costs before the project, during planning of the project, and then show to the to the agency that will provide you money for it, that you needs this money to manage data properly and share them properly, etc. There is a very nice simple schema of research data lifecycle. By the way, this schema is from Elixir Research Data Management Kit, and that's first of several links I think can be very useful for you. At RDM Kit webpage, every element in the diagram is active. You can click on that and find more information about this phase of the research data management of the research data lifecycle, about the planning, collecting, processing, and there are also links for tools or templates for this phase of life cycle of the data. So this can be useful if you are, for example, now coping with planning. You can click on the plan element and get some more information on it and for some tools. If we are speaking about data management plans, it can be useful to see how others are doing data management plans. There is another set of links that can help you. The first one is a collection that originates in Open Air project. That's a collection of several hundreds of public available Horizon 2020 data management plans. So you can see how your colleagues are structuring and filling in these documents. It's from several research areas, so try to find DMPs from your research area and see that. Another three links are from DMP tools that are software tools that help you with preparing and updating data management plans. I will show them shortly in the next few slides. The data management plans produced by these tools are sometimes by their authors also publicly are also published, so they are publicly available and you can see them. The first tool for data management planning is called DMP Online. That's I can say classical tools, older one. More or less, it's a kind of electronic form that you can use to fill in your data management plan. The interesting thing is that on the top of the page there is section public DMPs, and that's the collection of public DMPs prepared using this tool that you can see. There is icon download, so you can use that. And this is a very simple example of one of the DMPs produced by this tool. You can see that's a simple document with several chapters that cover several areas of the research data lifecycle, like data collection, documentation, and metadata, etc. Important thing about DMP Online is that there is also funders requirements section, and in this section, authors of the tool are trying to gather requirements from several research funding agencies and gather it on one place, so you can see what are different requirements from different funder agencies. That was the first tool. The second tool is Argos. That's a tool that was under development in Open Air project. it's somehow similar to DMP Online. The set of features is similar. What's interesting about this tool is that first, DMP for project is connected to separate entity of a description of a dataset. That's useful as it often happens that one data set is used in several projects. So using Argos, you can separately describe the data set and separately describe projects that use this data set. Another thing is that Argos is connected to OpenAir Research Graph. That's aggregation of metadata that tries to interconnect metadata from different sources, interconnect this information and produce semantic data structure that aggregates all this. And again, Argos is able to export to common standard for data management plans. Again, Argos have a section of public DMPs for projects and for the data set, so you can use it as a reference for you how data management plans can be structured and done. The last tool for data management planning or producing data management plans is Data Stewardship Wizard. And that's the first demo I would like to show you today. I consider this tool to be of the most interest for us. It's under development inside Elixir project in the Czech Republic. So if you are living in the Czech Republic, it's you have better connection to the authors of this tool. And if you click on the link in the top right corner of the page, you will get to this page where you can use this tool. If you click on the Get Started button, you can interactively use this tool. If you are just trying this tool, you can click the demo. If you are occasional user of these tools, you can use it as a standalone researcher, as a hosted platform or hosted tool by the developers. If you are research organization, you can consider deploying this tool as organization as self-managed or in DSV cloud. It is of course useful if you can connect it to your identity management and etc. For this demo, I will just use it in the hosted environment. Just click start planning button, and you can log in using your institution via Elixir AI button. As I'm from the Maastricht University, I will just find Maastricht University in the list. I will be moved to the identity provider of my university. I will log in. And when I'm authorized by Maastricht University IDP server, I am logged in with my account and I can start the tool. I will name it demo DMP. Data Stewardship Wizard is based on something that's called knowledge model. You can think of knowledge models as templates of data management plans forms. that you can use. For this demo, I will use the common DSV data management model. That's something like common set of usual questions or things you should cover in your data management plan. What I will also add is tag. For this demo, I will use tag Horizon 2020 DMP that will mark or filter just questions that are relevant for Horizon 2020 data management plans. Data storage wizard is open. In fact, at our university, we are going to test it as our institutional DMP tool, and you can develop your own knowledge models. So if, for example, Thatcher is going to prepare his own data management model for data management plans from his projects, then you can upload it to your installation and just use it. Okay, let's start. You can see the data management is consisting from several sets of information. There are common administrative information like contributions to the project, etc. There are questions on reusing data, creation and collection of data, etc. You also can tell the tool what phase of data management plan preparation you are in. I probably don't told it before, but data management plan is a living document. It should not be created at the beginning of the project and then forgotten. It should be updated regularly when new things happen. If you during the development of the project find anything that simply changes your data pipeline or data formats or data storage, etc., just update the data management plan. And DSV tool is supporting this. And if you tell the tool we are before submitting the project proposal, he will mark you in red just questions that are the most important in this phase of DMP preparation. Interesting thing is that DSV is connected to several data sources. For example, if I am adding project contributors, it's connected to ORCID. So if I will enter ORCID ID, it will connect to the database. To be honest, I don't remember my ORCID, so I will not try to fill it in here. If I click, for example, data using part of the form, there is question if there are some pre-existing data. If you click on no, that's it, and this answer is this question is answered. If you click yes, you can see there is an icon that tell you there are another questions that are only relevant if you are if you have some pre-existing data, and in this way the tool shows you just the minimal set of questions that are really relevant to your project. If you are, for example, creating data, it will ask you what data formats you are using, and again, if I click here, I can start to type the format in this case JPEG, the format of bitmap images, and if I fill in the format name, it will again provide link to FAIR sharing repository with the definition of the format. So in this way, you are preparing a data management plan that's really useful and machine processable, machine actionable. You have links to the vocabularies of terms and definitions of things you are really using. For several questions, for some questions, you can also see these labels that show what answer is preferable from the point of view of FAIR principles. For example, if you are using a data format standard that is not widely used, it's not good for interoperability of your project. And you can see it as interoperability is here in the red. If you are using standard widely used format, it's good for interoperability. It's useful as DMP is providing you with some metrics. It's not here filled in so far, as I answered just a minimum number of questions from the questionnaire. But if you answer more questions, it will show you how fair your project is. How good is from the point of view findability of your data, from the point of view of accessibility of your data, etc. So time flies, so I will switch back to my presentation. Excuse me. I will try to get back. Yeah. Now get back to my presentation. So I hope you now have a more precise idea how you can prepare modern data management plan, what phases of research data lifecycle it covers, and what can be used for. Okay, there is simple comparison of data management tools that I show you. DMP is a classical one, simple interactive form. It's something similar to Word template, but it includes help texts and comments of the question forms from many organizations. Argos is interconnected to OpenAir Research Graph and separates description of projects and datasets. And from my point of view, the most useful or advanced tool is Data Storage Wizard that among other things, provides you with fair metrics that show you how good your project is in several aspects of the FAIR principles. Oh, that's okay. That's everything from the theoretical part of my talk, and then go to the questions. One of the things or questions I got is what are tools useful for doing or presenting or sharing data in interoperable and reusable way. And that's second demo I would like to show you. If you click on the link in the presentation, you will get to the Jupyter website, and I'm not sure if all of you know Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab. If you are not if you do not know this tool, I would like to present it shortly to you, as I consider it a very nice example of well documented and very well-documented processing of data and experiments that are useful and verifiable by others. I will try a simple Jupyter Lab demo, but there are special demos for use of R with Jupyter, C++ with Jupyter, Ruby with Jupyter. If you do not know Jupyter Notebook, it's a framework built primarily on Python and allows you to combine data, code processing the data, and documentation that documents how the data are processed. This is demo at the web page of the organization that develops the tool. I am afraid we don't have time to very detailed description, but I'm just going to show you the basic principles of this. It runs in a web browser. This window is just a Chrome web browser running the web page. In this case, it's hosted by developers of Jupyter Lab, but you can, in something like three simple commands, run it on your own computer with Python installed and use it locally over on your data. The basic thing is called notebook, and notebook consists of cells that are of code type that contains code, in this case in Python, and documentation cells that are in Markdown. If I fill in some Python code, I can push Control plus Enter, and this code is executed and run. If I fill in Markdown notation, then if I click Control Enter, the Markdown is interpreted and rendered as documentation. And in this way, I can one by one run chunks of code and see the results. Nice thing is that the results can be interactive, so you can see what's the result of changing different parameters. Of course, you can consequently save it. You can simply see what are results of different command lines in your code, and you can run it all at once, and you will see how the code is consequently run. What's the important thing? This, what you now see, is a simple file that you can share with other people, and you can see the code and the rendered results without with no need to rerun the code itself. You can save the results of this computation if, for example, this computation takes something like 2 hours. You run it once and save the result in this way. But if someone else want to verify this result, he can just push Control Enter on his own computer and see whether the results are the same for your data and whether the results are the same for his data, for example. So this is very short demo. Jupyter Lab is able to render PDF documents, so you can see it can be used as Python editor. It can be used as Markdown editor, when you can simply have code and rendered preview, and it can handle data like CVS data. Of course, this iris CSV file can be used in this Python code to be processed, and some plot can be generated from the data, etc., etc. So for me, this is a nice example of well-documented research. And if you use these graphs in your publication and provide the readers of your publications not only with the PDF of the publication, but also with the CSV file and this Python lab file, we have completely everything and can rerun your experiment on his own computer and use it directly for processing his own data. So another question, at what quality level should data be open and shared, whether raw data, clean data, aggregated data? The answer from me is that just think what data you would like to get you from your colleagues. If you would like, if raw data would be useful for you, then share raw data. If raw data are huge and not clean, it needs a lot of work to make them useful for processing, then just share clean data. And your colleagues will be very happy that you did the hard work for them. Another question is what kind of data and where should be stored and made open access. We were speaking about that before. I think in one of previous presentations, refereedata.org webpage was mentioned. That's registry of data repositories, so you can browse these by country, by topic of research, etc. So this can be useful. And again, think of data formats and metadata that should be useful for you. That's probably the right data format and metadata that you should share with your colleagues. Data management plan and levels of open access, that was covered in the presentation of Jirka Marek, so I will not tell more on this topic. And I think this is the last question that I got before this webinar. Although I have experience with DMP, it's still unclear to me the real purpose and how we are going to benefit from that. I hope now you see it more. From my point of view, data management plan should be document for you as a research group, not for a grant agency or another institution that just gives money to you. Data management plan should help you to think of different stages of research data lifecycle and help you to document it for your own group and help you with planning of costs of data storing and processing, help you with thinking about pipelines, ways of sharing data, etc. I think the most important thing is data are first-class citizens. That's the important thing, not the publications, but the data that the publications are using to get the results. So yes, there are some more questions. Examples of DMPs. I did several. I had several links before in the slides, and how to draft good data management plan. recommendations, see existing data management plans, use tools like data storage wizards, go to refer data to see possibilities, and also look at OSF platform, that publication platform that covers all steps of data or publication, not only publishing and supporting review or peer review of the publication, but also adding support material like data collections, etc. So look at this web page. And software tools, RDM kit is very useful, Jupyter Lab is very useful, etc. ARX is a tool set for anonymization of sensitive data. UK data service have very good materials on handling research data. So these are the most useful resources. So that's all from me. And if you have any questions, please ask.
Thank you very much, Mr. Růžička. There was some discussions ongoing in the chat about the open access bill, and the only outstanding question was from Mr. Eldesuki. Do you offer tools for data and metadata management? So this you answered in your last answer. So apart from that, I don't see anything now. If someone has something on mind later, don't hesitate to write or raise your hand. If you don't have more questions, we can pass the word to Mr. Kotouček now. And thank you again, Mr. Růžička.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'll try to share my screen. It's my first time presenting through Google Meet, so please let me know if you see the presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. When we were discussing with my colleagues how could I complement to their presentations, we identified two topics, and the first one is introduction to copyright law and its connection to sharing your works in open access. There was already something said by Jirka in the first presentation, and the second part will be a short presentation. Horizon European Framework Programs, open access rules. The new Horizon Europe program is coming this year, and I would like to tell you briefly what's the development in this area. Is there was already said that the rules, open access rules of KAPPA program are basically those taken from the Horizon 2020 framework program that ended last year, or there are no more calls in this program. Maybe I should introduce myself. My name is Jiří Kotouček, and I work for Technology Center of Czech Academy of Sciences. And let's go into it. I'll try to go through it briefly, so we can meet the schedule at 3 p.m. I would like to start with the basics of the copyright law. The copyright protects the author's work, and what's great about it, or bad about it, that it comes automatically ex lege when you create such a work, So there's no process of registration or something else, like in the case of, for example, your invention, where you can ask for a patent. No, when you create a work, you are doing copyright. The work must, as I said, it has to be some kind of work, and it must be expressed in some objectively perceivable manner. We go to so-called idea expression dichotomy, which is a concept of the protection by copyright, that when you have some idea or thoughts, they are not protected, but when you express these thoughts, for example, you write it down in your paper, and someone can read it, someone can see it. It's here comes the copyright, and your work is protected. What's another problem of copyright is its duration. As you may know, it's quite long. Now we have our author's work protected for 70 years after the death of the author. So if someone creates something today, you have to wait 70 years after his death to use it when the work is part of the public domain. And here we go to the thing we are interested most, and this is the use of the works. Because when you want to publish someone else's works, when you want to use it for yourself, recreate, use parts of it, and so on, you have to do it only under three conditions. The first one is an agreement. We call it, as you know, and you have to contract with your licensee, with the person who wants to use your work, with the publisher, and so on. The other possibility is, as we said, the death of the author. But as I mentioned on the previous slide, the duration of the copyright is 70 years after the death of the author. So it would not be very useful to wait for it for sharing the results of your research, or using someone else's results of research. So it's not very useful for us. And the last condition you can use is our limitations and exceptions of the copyright that are part of the directives and Czech Copyright Act. And simple citation exceptions, so you can cite others' works, and it's completely legal if you fulfill the conditions of the Copyright Act. And to share your work the way the others can use it, we have to use the first option from these three, and these are the licenses. The first speaker, Jirka, was already speaking about public licenses, and this is the way we use. But before we get to the public licenses, I would like to mention another very important provision of the Copyright Act, which is part. This is the citation of the Czech Copyright Act, but similar provisions are in others. National copyright laws, and also in, for example, U.S. copyright law, where it is called to work for hire. This concept means that when you create author's work as an employee, or you create it for hire, the economic rights are exercised by your employer in his own name and on his account. That means that you only possess the moral rights. So basically, it means that you will still be an author of the work, but the all other rights and the right to use the work, which is the one we are interested in, will be possessed or will be exercised by your employer. This is very important to know about and to be aware of. That you, as a scientist, for example, you cannot license your works as such. It's when you create it as an employee, the rights are exercised by your employer. There, of course, could be an agreement, for example, as a part of employment contract, or another, for example, directive or something like that in your institution that could give you rights to exercise right to use of your work, but in other cases it is your employer who has this right. And the other thing I would like to mention is that we don't only have the copyright law, but we also have so-called neighboring rights. And one of these neighboring rights is sui generis database law that protects databases, and it doesn't protect the creative creation as the copyright, but it protects, as you can see on the slide, the qualitatively or quantitatively substantial investment in creating a database. And there are two explicit rights protected by this database law, and it's the extraction means, as you can read in the Czech Copyright Act or in the database directive. It's the permanent or temporary transfer of all the content of the database or substantial part to another medium, and the reutilization of the database, which is any form of making available to the public all the content of database or a substantial part thereof by the distribution of copies, by rental, or by the online or any other form of transmission. So that's what these rights mean. And what we should know is that the duration of these database rights 15 years from that substantial investment, and the right renews again when there is another substantial investment to the database. And now, please, let's look at public licenses. As was already mentioned by Irka and in the beginning of this presentation, it is our way how to provide rights to third parties. It is the way how they can use our works. And this system was created by the organization Creative Commons, chaired by Lawrence Lessig in the United States, when there was a need of internet users to share their works, but they didn't want to be bounded by the restrictive or by the restrictions of copyright law. So this is the way how to do it. And the most popular public licenses which you can use Creative Commons licenses. The Creative Commons licenses consists of several elements which you can combine, and these are rights and obligations you rights that binds the user and obligations. Rights that you provide to the users and the obligations binding users of the works. So the rights are basically right to share the work. So it means the use of the work by the legal language. The language of law says calls sharing communication to public. So basically, it means downloading someone else's work and sharing it. And there's another right of remixing the work. So it means changing the work or make it a part of your own work. And there are also obligations, and these are basically every time you use Creative Commons license, there's a obligation of attribution, which means that you have to mention author and some other information when sharing the work elsewhere. And the other obligations are you could use that could be part of the license are so-called share-alike or copyleft element, which means that when you share the work or remixed, you have to share it under the same or similar license, like giving it back to the community, to the commons to be set. And the other obligations are non-commercial, that you know it means that the user of the work can't use it commercially, and the last obligation is no derivatives, which means that you can't change or remix the work or use parts of it, change it. As you can see, it's contrary to remix, so you cannot provide these rights and obligations together. By combining these elements, we can create 6 licenses, as you can see on the picture, which are from the most open CC BY at the top, and the most restrictive CC BY non-commercial derivatives at the bottom. The CC BY basically means that the user of the work must only include the information about the author and where he got to work. And the last one means that you basically can only share the work non-commercially. So this is the scale where we are moving on the talking about Creative Commons licenses. Basically, we can say that the strictly open license are only the 2 at the top. So CC BY and CC BY share alike. The others are more restrictive. But as you can see, when you look to directly with open access journals, this site was mentioned by Ilka, and you can filter the journals by licenses. You can see that the most of the journals use the most open CC BY license. But there are also more than 3,500 journals using the most restrictive non-commercial derivatives license. So you can basically choose whatever you want, what rights you would like to give to the user by choosing the right journal. When uploading or sharing your article from the repository, it's also up to you. You can choose whichever license you would like to use, and how broad rights you would like to give to the users of your works. As I looked into the conditions of KAPPA, there is no specification of whichever license you should use. So it's up to you. But as we will see in a minute, there are more strict provisions from the side of the European Commission in the Horizon Europe program. So that's basically it regarding the brief description of copyright and open access and public licenses. And I would like to look in 3 or 4 slides into the conditions of Horizon Europe, just for your information, to see the development, because as we mentioned before, the provisions in KAPPA are taken from the Horizon 2020 program that just ended. It's not a problem at all. I think that the Thatcher is anyway the first funder to have these provisions regarding open access in the Czech Republic. So I think it's a great way how to do it. But I would like to introduce you the conditions that are coming. And firstly, I have to mention that the European Commission prohibits embargo period for the future. So I saw that there was a broad discussion in the chat about embargo period and so on. So in Horizon Europe for the future, there will be no such an embargo allowed. So you have to share your work immediately. There is immediate open access. And then, as we were talking licenses a couple of minutes ago, you can see that for Horizon Europe, the European Commission have quite strict conditions regarding licensing. So they want you to publish your articles under CC BY, which means the most open license. And you can publish the longer text like monographs under also more strict license, and so you can see on the slide. But the crucial change is regarding the publication of papers. Then what else? The Europe will not finance publication in hybrid journals. I think that Jirka already mentioned what is hybrid journal. It's the journal that's based on the prescription. That's based on the prescription model, and you can pay for the article in open access. So it's basically double funded by these two ways. So it won't be eligible anymore when you would like to publish your article in this kind of hybrid journal. And there's one novelty that Commission itself prepared the new platform called Open Research Europe, where you you can upload your articles, and all the peer review process will be done through this new platform, and your article will be published there after the review. There's just a problem of using it in the Czech Republic regarding the assessment of institutions and researchers, because there's not this new platform was not part of the rules for the assessment. There are still just journals that are part of Scopus and other other databases. So it hopefully come in the future. This platform will officially start in, I think, few days or maybe tomorrow even. So we will see how it will work and how it will be reflected by national assessment of science. And regarding data, the European Commission very much support the concept of fair data, as Michal already was talking about it. They want you to prepare data management plans. As Michal mentioned, it's a viable document, and Commission wants you to regularly update it and report the first version after about the first 6 months of the project, and the second version during the project, and the third one at the end of the project, more or less. And they want you to provide all the necessary metadata, and also the Commission here has some more strict license policy and want you to publish your data under CC by a Creative Commons Attribution license. So that's basically it. Jirka distributed some of your questions among us. So I received this. I think it's more. I think, or I hope that it was already answered or will be answered by Thatcher. Yeah. Conditions and documents and everything, I think, was also already mentioned. NDA, I have to say that I not sure about the context. So maybe the one who sent this question could specify. Maybe later during the Q&A. Financial coverage policies. We, as I'm aware of, I think that the article processing charges are eligible costs in KAPPA projects, so it's the same as in European projects. So there should be no problem. And embargo period, there was debate in the chat. I hope that everything was answered, or I already also mentioned something about embargo periods. Basically, when the publisher has a longer embargo period, then in the rules you can send them information about your project and ask for specific license provisions for your project or for your work. In our experience, they almost every time make change the rules for you, so you can publish there. And proprietary data, well, when you don't want to, or you can't publish your data because it could jeopardize your business or your project, then of course do not publish your data. The approach of the European Commission regarding Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe programs is make your data as open as possible and as close as necessary. So this is it. I think that the Thatcher has a similar policy regarding KAPPA program. Yeah, and that's it. Oh.
Thank you very much also for your presentation. There is one more question in the chat about hybrid journals. So I don't know if this you can answer, please.
Okay. Instead of being hybrid, some journals created new journals with the same name but the open access. However, these journals are not included in the rigorous databases, Web of Science and Scopus, although the parent journal is there. Is it better to go with the open access version? No codability by databases or the hybrid version? Well, I think it depends on you, on your decision, on the decision where you would like to publish your article. I think that when you want it to be part of your assessment or assessment of your institution, you have to publish it in the journal that is part of WOS and Scopus. And I don't know if Thatcher has any policy regarding eligibility for article processing charges in hybrid journals, but I don't think so. So from this point of view, I think there's no problem. If someone from Thatcher can confirm it, but.
Yes, at this moment it's only the green or golden access, and we don't have provisions about the hybrid. And what Mr. Kotouček was saying, it was for the Horizon Europe, so for the upcoming Plan S, which is like for your look in the future, how it will be, where it will be going. But it is not at this moment. We won't be implementing in the conditions of KAPPA.
Yeah. I was talking about Horizon Europe, and I mentioned that the costs for article processing charges in hybrid journals will not be eligible anymore in Horizon Europe program. So that is where the problem. It's not that you can't publish in hybrid journals. You can do that, but the Commission will not pay for your costs regarding this publication. So that is where is the problem. But as already Zuzana mentioned, there is no such a rule in KAPPA, so I think that it's obsolete for us.
Okay, does anyone else have more question to any of us? Now is the time. We reached the perfect timing of our webinar. If not, as it was mentioned before, you can always reach out to us after the webinar through any means that you already used. I want to thank very much to our speakers. Thank you for your great presentations. It was really interesting, and thank you for all the practical information. We really hope that our beneficiaries will find it now more easy, or will not see it as such a burden to oblige with these conditions, and will actually see it as a benefit, as a positive thing for the future praxis in research. And thank you everyone for your participation. We are looking forward to another occasion to meet you, and hopefully next time it will be face-to-face or in at least in better situation. So again, thank you very much everyone, and good luck and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks everyone.